It's time for Mac Geek Gab, and listener Dan brings us our quick tip of the week. He says, a few weeks ago, you mentioned the trick in the Notes app on the Mac that if you press Command-Enter while in a note, it jumps you back to the main list where you can then arrow up or down in the list of notes. And if you press Command-Enter while in the list of notes, it jumps your cursor to the end of whatever note you have selected. The new tip: if you hit Tab while in the list of notes, it jumps your cursor to the start of that note instead of the end. I use this command all the time to order my notes by number since I keep it sorted alphabetically. I like this. All right. More tips like this, plus your questions answered today on Mac Geek Gab 1097 for Monday, July 7th, World Chocolate Day 2025. Greetings, folks, and welcome to Mac Geek Gab, the show where you send in quick tips like that. You send in cool stuff found. You send in your questions. We share it all. We answer your questions. We string it all into an agenda that hopefully makes both logical sense and is formulated just so, handcrafted with love, to encourage each of us to be able to learn at least 5 new things every single time we get together. Our sponsors for this episode include strawberry.me/MGG, where code MGG lets you claim your $50 credit on their services of having a professional coach by your side. K12.com/MGG is where you can go today to find a tuition-free K-12 powered school near you and enroll your student now for the fall. Fireflies.ai/MGG. This is a fantastic little teammate that you can invite into your meetings to transcribe, summarize, analyze. I love it. And CalderaLab.com/MGG. And code MGG at checkout gets you 20% off your first order for the same stuff that I'm using to clean my face every morning and kind of keep things looking sharp for all of you. We'll talk more about all that in a little bit. For now, here in Durham, New Hampshire, I'm Dave Hamilton.
And here, not looking quite as sharp as Dave in South Dakota, I'm Adam Christianson.
And here, looking pretty dull and rounded, is Pilot Pete. But I am 1097 on scene.
Ah, yes.
So, yeah.
I've only got 2 more of those, Pete.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We got to start all over. Find some other theme, but we will so do. How about I go on scene with some quick tips?
Well, I do want to share, though,
okay.
2 things. Number
Mac
one,
stock stuff, yeah.
Yep, this coming Saturday, when this show comes out on Monday the 7th, the Saturday following that would be the 12th. We will all be at MacStock doing a live Mac Geek Gab that evening. And MacStock starts the day before. It starts on Friday the 11th and continues in and through Sunday the 13th. So we will be there for all of that as availability allows. And we would love to see you there. And I believe Mac Geek Gab 50 is still the coupon to save $50 off of a registration. So we'd love to see you there. And the MGG monthly giveaway at macgeekup.com/giveaway for the month of July. We have partnered with our friends at Victrola and are giving away a Stream Onyx turntable, which is both Bluetooth and works with Sonos. And I've been using one, and we'll talk more about that during a Cool Stuff Found segment coming up here. But we are giving away one of those in partnership with them. So make sure you go enter.
Nice.
All right. Yeah. Now
they're not giving away the dog, though. Just
no
the
dog.
Turntable.
You you got to provide your own BYOD, Pete. Bring your own dog.
Right on. All right. If kids, go ask your parents the Victrola dog.
Yeah.
All right. I've actually got a twofer quick tip this week, Dave, for those using Apple Music on the Mac and for those using Spotify. So Tony writes in, he says, this is for people using Apple Music on the Mac. Think of a song in your library or in Apple's music that typical of what you like to hear. Select the song, right-click, and select Create Station. Put on the headphones and enjoy. Overall, this seems to work much better than in the past. It seems to work best with well-known artists and songs, which makes sense because it's got a bigger data trove to work with. But even if you select a big hit, music will offer less famous pieces as well. And then my quick tip to that, because my daughter won't let me do Apple Music because she has all her stuff in Spotify. If you can use Spotify Create Station, and I have liked songs. So if you open your liked songs playlist, tap the three dots next to any song, and in the menu that comes up, go to Song Radio, and a new playlist will start with similar tracks. So ways to get music that you like without actually having to go and pick out each song.
I like it.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Should I take us to Alan?
Yep.
All right. Alan writes in regarding some stuff we talked about in the last episode. He said, I enjoyed your discussion about multiple volumes within a container. This is APFS volumes. I have a 2 terabyte X9 Pro SSD. Hey, those are the same ones I think I just bought that we also talked about on last episode. And I created an APFS container, then added an encrypted volume called X9 Pro. Then I added 3 more volumes for encrypted time machine backups for 3 other Macs that I have. When I plugged in my X9 Pro SSD, the time machine for that Mac automatically, when I plug that in, the time machine for that Mac automatically starts up. When that finishes, I go into Disk Utility, eject the SSD from the top level, and eject the SSD from the top level. I also set my time machines to back up daily. By the way, containers cannot be encrypted. Just the volumes within it can optionally be encrypted on a per volume basis.
I love that we're continuing this conversation about containers and volumes on APFS drives or APFS formatted drives, because I think when we got into it last week, it was like, this is something we haven't covered a ton of on the show.
Right.
And I think it's an important lesson to kind of sink into all of our heads that, yes, there are scenarios, I'm sure, where it makes sense to do it the quote unquote old way, but this is the way to do it. And I love the idea of encrypting certain volumes. Certainly he's doing all of them, and that's fine. But yep. Love it.
I was not aware of that until we talked about it last week. And so I spent some time with ChatGPT learning more about volumes and containers and all that stuff. So there's good information there to be had as well. But yeah, that's cool. So how about I take us to Joe? He writes in, I was looking for a unique email that I could create with naming that I wanted to define, and ideally would be an iCloud email. I first thought to just create a new Apple ID, but that was going to be a pain because I had to enter a new Apple ID and mail and track that, and you also have to enter a credit card. My comment. In looking for an answer on the web, I had completely forgotten about Apple Email Alias. Turns out every Apple ID is allowed to have up to 3 alias emails associated with the same account. So I simply went into iCloud Mail on the web, clicked the little gear box, and selected Email Alias. That's in the left column as you're looking at it. Creating a name of my making, and boom, all of a sudden I had a new email with an iCloud extension that routes to my existing email account. It's sort of like a self-assigned hide my email feature that can be turned on or off as needed. Anyway, something folks have probably known about for years, but something that's easy to forget. Keep up the great work, Joe from Raleigh. And I will also add that while you're limited to 3 active aliases at any one time, you can delete one and replace it with a new one. Just remember that if you do delete that alias, it's gone forever. You're not going to be able to delete it and turn it back on.
Is it gone forever, or could you delete one of the other ones that you have and recreate that old alias? And I realize you might not know the answer to this, but The other question is, if you have been using an alias for a little while, Pete, and you delete it, can I then go and create the same alias on iCloud and now start getting mail that previously was going to you? I don't know the answers to this, but this is the kind of thing that's worth thinking about when you go to delete one of these aliases. Like, just make sure. Yeah,
because
exactly.
I don't know the answer to that.
Same.
I simply, somewhere I read that once you delete it, you can't reuse it.
Right, which makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, which would probably prevent you from getting my email, which is why they would.
Yeah, is it put
that's
into a list, that, a dead
letter
list? Yeah, a dead letter list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay.
cool. So if someone has a different answer, let us know at feedback@macgeekgab.com.
Pete, was that feedback@macgeekgab.com?
No, Adam. I heard him say feedback@macgeekgab.com, but I don't know. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Never know.
Nope. I ain't saying.
Steve knows something about CarPlay.
All right.
Steve says, here's a quick tip I just discovered. When connected to CarPlay, you can ask Siri to tell you what your battery percentage currently is. Don't know why it can't just be displayed on screen, but it is what it is. Now, you know what? I read this and I thought, well, I have a battery indicator on my CarPlay. It doesn't show percentage, though, I don't believe. And I don't know if that can be turned on or off, but it will show the level. And then I was like, well, why would Steve not see that? And it turns out that the battery indicator is only available in wireless CarPlay, because I guess the postulation on at least Reddit is that if you're wired into your thing, it's already charging. So why would you need to know what the battery was at? But
yes,
I disagree with that sentiment, but I could understand how an Apple engineer or Apple's team could think, well, I mean, you're plugged in. Why would you need to know what your battery is? You're gonna be charging. So
yeah, I believe that's correct. Now, in my car, which has native wireless CarPlay, so it's a 2025 Subaru Outback, native wireless CarPlay. When I plug it in, even to the car's port that would normally be the one for like wired CarPlay, I still see the battery indicator on the screen. So I think it doesn't actually shift over to wired CarPlay. I think it's just charging on wireless CarPlay.
Yeah, probably.
But I do see the little lightning bolt icon in the on the screen for the battery. But you're right, we don't get percentage. We just get whatever visual indicator shows half, 3/4, 1/4 kind of thing. But yeah, I like the idea of asking. You don't have to be on CarPlay to use the S Lady to ask your battery status. You can do that at any time. And
sure.
In theory, will work. Speaking of wireless assistants, has anyone used Alexa Plus? This is okay. So I turned it on early. Alexa Plus early access. We have some Echo Dots, and I realize I keep saying the A lady's name. My apologies. A Lady Plus. And so it was like it offered us, I don't know, 3 weeks ago to turn it on. And it's awful. Like what it's built for is there's an LLM behind it now, and you can communicate with it. So you can have ongoing conversations just like you would with the ChatGPT voice mode in your car or wherever. It doesn't matter. So like that part's cool. But in terms of being a functional voice assistant in our homes, that took 4 steps backwards.
Okay.
Some of the services that we have, the skills, with the A Lady, you assign skills to it to link it to all your other smart home stuff. Some of the skills that we have work fine the same way. But when we say, A Lady preheat oven to 350, now we have a GE oven that has Wi-Fi, and it says, yeah, I can't do that. It's like, but you used to be able to. And not every A Lady capable device in the house shifted over. Only the Echo Dots. Those are the only devices we have that are compatible with the new thing. So like the Sonos that we have that has the A-Lady built in is just the old school A-Lady. So I could go to another room and preheat the oven. But yeah,
That's
right.
convenient.
Oh no, yeah. But so Lisa started yelling at it, and she's like, "This is stupid." And it's like, "Oh, I wish I could help you with that." And Lisa asked, "Can you turn off the new features and go back?" And it was like, "Well, yes. Would you like to disable early access to A-Lady Plus?" And Lisa, I mean, I was just standing there, but I was not part of this conversation, nor was
And
I
you were
invited
smart enough
be.
to stay out of it,
You
sounds
got
like.
it. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. And she's like, "Yes, turn it off right now." And so she did. And then like I got an email saying, "You have ended your participation in the early access." and sure enough, we were able to preheat the oven again. But there were several other features, like even setting timers didn't work quite the same way. And it was just a little too verbose. And so I'm curious if anybody else out there is using A-Lady Plus in having perhaps a different experience with it than we had. So
Yeah.
Well, it is early access, so
Yes.
somewhat in their defense.
Oh, it's fine. I like that it was so easy to roll back, and I could turn it back on. It's not like once you're out, you can never come back in. Or it's like no.
Right.
Yeah, no, it was all very, like I said, I watched it happen audibly entirely, which
That's cool.
is something I want to give Amazon credit for. They understand and have always understood, even before the Plus version, that a voice assistant needs to be voice controllable for everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And Apple is slow on the uptake on that. We used to have, and sometimes still have, things where it's like, "Hey, S lady, can you do this?" It's like, I can't do that while you're driving, and because I can't show it to you. It's like, I don't want you to show it to me. I want you to tell it to me.
I asked you to tell me.
Let's just keep the medium the same here.
Exactly.
And it for a long time you couldn't turn off an alarm with your voice on your phone.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could set the alarm.
I'm aware.
Yeah, wow.
Now you can. But
I still don't get why I can tell S lady turn the living room lamp off and it will work, but if I tell her turn off the living room lamp, it won't work. That makes no sense to me.
We're getting there.
But hey, one other quick, did you notice along those lines, have you used ChatGPT's voice mode recently?
I
Have you
tend to use
noticed
all the
that it's
time.
gotten much more human sounding?
Yes.
It'll add an and an ah and an oh yes and that sort of thing, which was not there before.
It's got some
I don't know
friendly.
if it's creepy or cool.
It's friendly inflections. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I know. It makes it. Yeah.
it's either creepy or it's cool, but I don't know that it can be both.
No, I think
Maybe a little of both.
I think it's both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anyway.
Tom, just one last thing. Tom says, "I like the new voice." He's over in YouTube. "I like the new voice. Haven't had skill issues yet." Well, that's really good, Tom, because I definitely have skill issues.
You're right. Oh, too funny. All right. Well, before we went down the voice rabbit hole, we were talking about CarPlay.
Yes.
And Reverend Gary wrote in about Dawn at the Boise Apple Store solved a CarPlay issue for him. So essentially, it's this. Want to rearrange apps in CarPlay? Go to Settings, General, CarPlay, and select your vehicle. This is on your iOS device itself. And then drag to rearrange the app icons to the order you prefer. For example, bring your favorite navigation and audio programs to the first page, push less used apps, in my case, like the Honda Link, to other pages, making using CarPlay way more simple and intuitive. And again, that's from Reverend Gary. And I always love his signature. Alcohol and calculus don't mix, so don't drink and derive.
Okay. Reverend Gary also does help us with something we mentioned earlier in the show. And the answer is Nipper. That is Victrola's dog's name.
Oh, I could have told you that. I didn't speak up. I kind of missed that conversation. I saw it at the tail end and I just let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Keeping on the CarPlay theme, Tim has one. He says, hello, to get alternate directions suggested by Apple Maps while using CarPlay, tap on the screen once to bring up the options. Then tap the icon in the top right corner to toggle the overview to the overview mode instead of turn-by-turn mode. While in overview mode, Maps will pop up alternate route suggestions as long as you stay in that mode. To select an alternate route, tap on it. So you can get alternate driving directions from Apple Maps in CarPlay.
Love that. Yes. Yep. Yeah, that is handy. And you got to kind of wait there for a beat while it goes and finds the alternate routes and populates them and all that stuff. So, yeah. All right. Thanks for all those quick tips, folks. This is great. We have some don't get caught stuff, some cool stuff found, some all kinds of things to talk about. And we want to do that. The next thing that we want to do is to talk about our first two sponsors. Because, well, hey, have you ever finished a Zoom meeting and immediately forgot half of what was said? I mean, obviously, me too, until I started using our sponsor, Fireflies. Now, I just invite Fireflies into the meeting and boom, afterwards I get this magical summary with action items, highlights, even shareable sound bites. It's like having a super organized robot assistant that doesn't judge you for your third cup of tea or whatever. Fireflies is the #1 AI meeting assistant. It transcribes, summarizes, and analyzes your conversations, helping you focus on what's next. So whether you're in sales, engineering, podcast production, or just trying to keep your brain from melting in today's world, Fireflies keeps you in sync, productive, and never guessing. It works with Zoom, Slack, Asana, over 60 apps, basically all the things we geeks already use. And it's secure, customizable, and full of helpful features like timestamped notes, personalized summaries, and my favorite, no more, hey, what did we say again? Moments. Don't get caught missing the important stuff. And right now, you can get Fireflies for 50% off your first month when you go to fireflies.ai/MGG. That's right. You can get all the time-saving tools for 50% off your first month when you go to fireflies.ai/MGG. That's fireflies.ai/MGG, and our thanks to Fireflies for sponsoring this episode. And you know, with my crazy schedule this week, I haven't had a chance yet to meet with my strawberry.me coach yet, but I'm seriously stoked. I love what this service is doing. I love the concept, and I really love how easy it is to get started. Let's face it, we spend a third of our waking lives working. For some of us, it's more. So why stay stuck in a job that's draining your soul faster than a rogue kernel extension? Strawberry.me, they get that. That's why they match you with a certified career coach to help you go from to heck yeah in your professional life. You get clarity on your goals, a real action plan, someone to build your confidence, and of course, a coach who keeps you accountable when things get messy, which of course they always do for all of us. It's like having your own career sysadmin. Don't get caught coasting through a job you've outgrown. Take action. Own your future with a professional coach in your corner. Head to strawberry.me/MGG to claim your $50 credit and get started. That's strawberry.me/MGG. Stop settling. Start building the career you actually want. And our thanks to strawberry.me for sponsoring this episode. All right, we've got some don't get caught things here, and JP brings us our first one. So, JP, take it away.
Gentlemen, JP in the great Northeast with a possible I got caught moment. I have two homes, one in California, one in the Northeast. And the other day, I'm in the Northeast right now, and the other day I changed my password on my Apple ID because I was worried about some fraud thing that came through. So just to be safe, you know, I changed my password. However, it did ask me, hey, do you want to sign out of all devices from your Apple ID? And I blindly chose yes, thinking that's the best thing to do. But here's what I've discovered. My all my home hubs in California are now not responding. And I have confirmed through the Eero app that my internet is fine and that the power is on in my home there. But I can't get any of the home hubs, Apple TVs, HomePods, any of them. None of them are responding, which leads me to believe that if you're not signed in or you have been signed out, you have now broken access to your HomeKit everything. So I suspect this is the case. I'm sending you this message to see if you can confirm that my hunch is correct. And I got super caught. So I'm blind now from anything happening in my California home until I get back there. All right, that's it. Thanks, guys. Love the show as always. I'm a premium supporter. Good day.
Thank you for the note and for everything, for being a listener, premium supporter, and all of it. Yeah, I could, as the three of us are sitting here, I can see us all nodding along. Yeah, like, ouch. I concur that your diagnosis is correct. Adam, you.
Oh, yeah. Sign out of all devices means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder if having Tailscale running on something in his remote location might grant him an access. This is for the future.
No, I don't think so.
Back in.
No, I mean, his problem isn't remote.
That he's not there to sign in. Yeah.
It's not remote access. It's remote access to his HomeKit stuff. Yeah. So no, I don't think so. And I think the re-logging in thing involves Bluetooth, I would think.
Or local Wi-Fi. There's probably something locally, especially related to HomeKit devices, IoT devices. I would imagine, you got to get on that Apple TV and the hub and sign it in.
Do you have to do it with your phone, or couldn't you do it with a Mac on the local network? Because if he could remote
I would guess you
in,
could do it with a Mac on the local network, because your Mac's going to see that Apple TV on the local Wi-Fi, right? It doesn't have to be. His problem is, it's disconnected from the internet, so it's remote. Like, everything HomeKit's probably working in his house. Like, if it has automations and stuff like that, it's probably humming along just fine. You just can't remote control it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's yep. Yeah. So the advice is think very carefully before clicking that sign out of all devices button for anything. And if possible, look at what's signed in before you click that button. That's the way to not have to remember everything. So, yeah. Thanks for the note, JP. Sorry you're in that pickle. But, yeah. I don't even know if you could send a friend over because your friend's iPhone isn't logged into your, account.
Yeah, you'd have to give them your Apple ID, log in.
That'd be a whole
what
thing.
A mess.
Yeah.
So.
If you, okay. So we know that Apple TVs and home hubs,
iPads, right?
Yeah, iPads can also be a HomeKit.
They could.
HomePods, right? But
I think iPads might have been removed from that capability recently. That's coming to the back of my mind.
That's coming to the back of my mind too. That's what I was going to say. Is we've got HomePods and Apple TVs for sure.
Yeah.
But so I was going to say, if you have an iPad at your house that somebody could just plug in, that might do it, but not anymore. No,
I don't think anymore. Yeah, I think they put the devices in the that home category, which are the only things that can do HomeKit home stuff now.
Yep.
Tells me I got to get a Mac Mini for our Florida place because as of Sunday night, I lost all access to our Florida place, and we don't know why. We don't know if the internet is off or what. But yeah,
squirrels.
Exactly.
That's not fun.
So
what router?
To go over and look today.
What router do you have there?
It's that T-Mobile home internet.
Okay. So you don't. So it's not like the Synology router or something that you.
It's a 5G cellular thing, and I do have a couple things there on Tailscale. I can't reach them, and I don't even know. Like, I've lost access to my Ecobee thermostat. So last it says it was 80 degrees in there, but I don't know if it's running, not running. Yeah. So I got to get a neighbor to go over today and tell me if the air conditioner's even on.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
Huh.
well.
Huh.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So, good. Yeah. Well, speaking of things that suck, Apple Notes.
You need me to? Yeah, I had a similar Notes wedge.
I got it. Here's the thing. I got it and I know where it is, but I have to use I forget what it's called, Spaces or whatever, to get back over to it because the beach ball is going and going and going. But I have it in front of me now.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So Father John writes in with another Don't Get Caught, talking about CleanMyMac, not quite as effective as MacUpdater. So he says he asked whether CleanMyMac works like MacUpdater. I wondered as well. About 2 months ago, I did several tests. I have MacUpdater to run every week. When it said I needed 5 updates, I did not run it, but started CleanMyMac. It found 1 update. I ran 4 more similar tests, and CleanMyMac never had as many updates as MacUpdater. Often it did not find any programs to update. I hope that CleanMyMac would get as good as MacUpdater before that stops. That's all I can give you. See you at MacStock, Father John. So
cool.
It was, I think we shared with somebody or last week, a couple weeks ago, that someone found another update program, and now I don't remember what it is.
Yeah. Here's one in kind of transitioning into cool stuff found, I think, from Bob. And Bob says, I've long used MacUpdater and sad to see it go. I also use CleanMyMac in the App Store app for updating. Command R to force a check. I just learned of an app called Latest that looks like it might help fill the gap. It can be found here, and he provides a link that we will obviously provide in the show notes. So maybe that one is the one you're thinking of, Pete?
You know what? It's, I was thinking of something that we mentioned in the future. Because of the email.
We did not mention Latest, but this looks
promising.
I
mean, we were going to mention it in the future. That's my point. I read the email.
It was MacUpdate.com is the one that we mentioned in the past. That is under new ownership. They have a new version of their app out. So these are all things to kind of keep an eye on throughout the year. My hope is that someone like MacPaw, the makers of CleanMyMac, acquires the tech that MacUpdater is using and just bakes it in. Because it really always has been the best. But it doesn't mean that somebody else can't cook their own, and maybe this Latest thing is that. So, yeah, great stuff. Love it.
Hey, do we have a time for me to call an audible on Don't Get Caught?
Sure.
Because I got caught with something that we've been talking about for a long, long time, and a bunch of you folks have tried to help me with this. I was attempting to take your advice, and what I'm talking about is the merging of my iCloud account, which is my family sharing iCloud account, where I'm the like organizer, head of the household, whatever it might be, and then I also have my Apple ID that I've used for all of my purchases. So anything that I bought on, movies or iTunes, and that account goes all the way back. And I was trying to explain this to Apple support. That account goes all the way back to iTools.
Yeah, that makes same. I mean,
that was my iTools account.
Right.
I originally set up under iTools. So I've had it for forever.
Mac.com account, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that email still works. But yeah, so a bunch of people wrote in because Apple recently updated and built in a process where you can go into your iOS device under your iCloud account. And if you're in this situation where you have a primary iCloud account and then a secondary account, Apple account that you use for purchases, you can choose to merge your purchase data and content and information from your secondary account into your primary account. So I went to go do this process Saturday, and lo and behold, I did not have that option. And I dug through the support article, and there are a bunch of different criteria. I don't want to go into all of them because it's too much time, but there's a bunch of situations where you can't do it. I mean, like one thing, all the accounts have to be on two-factor authentication, like that sort of stuff. One of the criteria is if you have iTunes music data on both your primary and your secondary account, apparently you're not allowed to merge for some reason. And so I wasn't sure because my primary account, my iCloud account, as far as I know, I've never used for iTunes, but I mean, it's been so long. It's possible I logged in to the wrong account at one time or another and, uploaded some music from my music library to that account, right? And so I called Apple support, and I thought I could just tell them, well, how do I get into my primary account and just delete the iTunes data? If that's what's stopping me, I don't care what's in there because all my music is, all my iTunes data and my uploaded music from the past when we had iTunes Connect and all that other stuff is in this purchases account that I have. So just blow it away, or you blow it away. I don't care. Like, clear it.
Yeah, get rid of it. You have the freedom to make it not exist.
Or at least tell me how I can clear it, because I'll go delete it. I don't care. Figuring that was something they could tell me how to do. They couldn't. There was no way to do that.
Of course not.
And then we went back and forth. And finally, the nice woman, support was great. They escalated me to another engineer. And I was trying to explain this whole situation to him. And then he said, well, do you have a developer account on your secondary account? And I'm like, well, yeah, probably. But that account got screwed up. I couldn't get logged into it. It would accept my username and password, but then it would go to this page and say, there's a problem with your account, contact developer support.
Got it.
And I contacted developer support multiple times. They never get back to me. And finally, I think one time someone said, well, just create a new developer account. So I created a new developer account under my primary Apple ID, my iCloud account. That's the one I've been using.
Yeah.
So he seems to think that's the reason why. But basically, Apple's just making me. So I got caught because apparently my accounts are all screwed up and can't be resolved. And they're just going to make me pay $29.99 a month for storage, right? Because I can't do the add-on storage, because that's the problem behind this whole issue.
Right.
Yeah. And so actually, and I finally did with that account that I can't access my developer account with, that secondary account, the @me account. What is connected to that is, and I can log into, which I think is related to developer stuff, is iTunes Connect and some other stuff. What's the other? There's two services. You have iTunes Connect and something else.
Yeah.
But once again, I'm willing to dump that and migrate that over if that solves the problem. So I'm going back and forth with Apple support.
Okay, this hasn't ended for you.
But I wanted to bring it up. I'm definitely caught at the moment, so I don't know how I'm going to resolve this. But it just seems silly. They can't just push a magic button and
nothing's ever simple.
Well, I mean, we knew that this was difficult because people for years have been asking for a way to, merge or whatever. And clearly they created a way to glue things together that was like a bolt on, right? And it clearly also did not account for every edge case. So it's not merging, it's taking and copying, and there's a path, but it's got guardrails still.
Yeah. So the other thing, and I want to see if this passes the sniff test for you guys in the community, because it scared the bejesus out of me. But when I got online with the first tier support, the woman thought there was something wrong with my iCloud, family sharing or something like that. I forget how she tried to explain it.
Sure.
But she said, well, because you're normally you could just, leave the share and then come back in, but you're the organizer. So if you leave, everybody has to leave. And she's like, but you can do that. And she was trying to convince me to just do that. And I'm like, that sounds not good to me. Well, what happens when I'm the organizer and all my family has access to all my, and she assured me everything would be fine, that I could leave the share, disband the entire family share, restart it up. But the thing she couldn't tell me is like, how is that going to be any different? Like if I'm still using the same iCloud account and I'm inviting the same people, how is that going to fix my situation? Because, you know, I'm willing to do it. If you were telling me, oh, you have to use now your secondary account as your iCloud account, like flip the two, and that would like resolve the issue. Great. But obviously there I would lose access to all my iCloud data because all my iCloud data is associated with my iCloud account. So like, it's like, I don't know, but the whole disbanding the entire family share, one, that sounds like a lot of work. Two, I'm not convinced that that's going to actually do what you think it's going to do.
Yeah, I do know in terms of the concern, I do know that, especially with regards to storage, like the storage that you have, the shared storage with an iCloud family account is a billing feature, not some physical thing where if it goes away, people lose everything. What'll happen is, you know, everybody will revert to whatever they have, which I think would be by default, you know, 5 gigabytes or something. And they wouldn't lose their data from what I understand, but they would not be able to add anything more to it because they would be over their storage quota, right? So letting that happen temporarily, again, I've never personally experienced it, but we've heard from a lot of you that have gone through not quite this, but other things where, you know, you've effectively orphaned a family member temporarily in iCloud only. I don't mean, you know,
right?
And then brought them back in, and all was well in the end. They might have gotten some emails like, "You need to upgrade your storage." It's like, yeah, okay, great, thank you. And then, you know, it all just worked out fine, and there was no data loss. So from that standpoint, what the woman said to you is consistent with reports that we've heard, but again, secondhand. But your point about, well, just like turning it off and turning it on again, like why is that going to be any different? I would think you would need to turn it off and do some, and now maybe you have a different opportunity for merging if you're not part of a family account when you do the merge, like, right? Like maybe there's some order of operations here that walks Apple's path. I don't know, but that would be the only part that would make sense to me. And then once you can get the storage the way you want it, then you bring your family back in and everything's, you know, where you want it. I don't know.
Yeah. So what I might try doing is just switching over those iTunes Connect accounts, because as far as I know, that secondary email, I can't access my developer. I sent a thing to Apple support, developer support. I still haven't heard back, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully they get back to me and either get me access back to that developer account so I can cancel it.
Yeah.
And then I can cancel my iTunes Connect and get out of the developer program for that entire email or that Apple ID. And then hopefully that will resolve it. So that's my plan at this point, is to see if I can do that path.
I think that path, again, based on what Apple has said to you, that path makes the most sense to me as well. Yeah. Yeah.
So more to come.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay. Cool. All right. Well, lots more to come on the show here, too. We definitely have at least one or two, maybe three cool stuff found to go through and some of your questions to answer. The next thing that I want to do is talk about our next group of sponsors. Because, look, as you know, I've been dealing with this annoying headache and fever lately. And while I haven't exactly felt great, here's the kicker. Thanks to our sponsor, Caldera Lab, I've looked great. I've been using the Good and the eye serum from them. And these products are legit. The eye serum is especially amazing. Puffiness, gone. Dark circles, handled. It's like my face is running on M-series silicone while the rest of me is stuck in Rosetta 2. Caldera Lab is skincare made for men. Not the complicated mystery goo kind, but targeted, tested stuff built by cosmetic chemists who know what they're doing. The Good, that's the name of the product, packed with 27 botanicals and a wild 3.4 million antioxidant units per drop. The eye serum, breakthrough peptides and adaptogens. This is science on your face. And yes, it's cruelty-free, non-comedogenic, I love saying that word, and even plastic neutral. Don't get caught using your partner's stuff. Get your own. Whether you're starting fresh or upgrading your routine, Caldera Lab makes skincare simple and effective. Don't settle for drugstore junk or steal your partner's products. Elevate your routine with skincare made for you. Head to calderalab.com/MGG and then use our code MGG at checkout for 20% off your first order. Again, calderalab.com/MGG. It's in the show notes. You can click it from there. Code MGG at checkout gets you 20% off your first order. And our thanks to Caldera Lab for sponsoring this episode. And look, as a parent, all you want is to set up your kids for success. And that means giving them a chance to learn in a way that actually works for them. And this is what I love about our sponsor, K-12 Powered Schools, and what they're doing. These are tuition-free, online, accredited public schools for kindergarten through 12th grade. It's not homeschooling. You're not the teacher. Their state-certified educators use innovative tech and engaging curriculum to meet each student where they're at. They learn at their own pace, in their own space, and even get access to clubs, activities, and in-person events. It's the flexibility and support we all wish we had growing up. With more than 25 years of experience, K-12 Powered Schools knows how to deliver. I really think this is such a fantastic alternative, especially if your student's current setup isn't cutting it. You've got a real option here. And yes, the geek in me loves that it's all powered by tech. Don't get caught stuck in a system that doesn't work. Join the more than 3 million families who have been served by K-12 and empower your student to reach their full potential now. Go to k12.com/MGG today to find a tuition-free K-12 powered school near you and enroll now. That's the letter K, the number 12, k12.com/MGG, k12.com/MGG. And our thanks to K-12 Powered Schools for sponsoring this episode. And while I have you here, if you're the kind of geek who loves optimizing workflows, why not optimize your life too? The 5 a.m. Miracle podcast with Jeff Sanders is your new productivity sidekick, except this one doesn't need recharging. Every Monday, Jeff dives into habits, hacks, and high-performance routines designed to help you dominate your day before breakfast. With over 500 episodes and 14 million downloads, it's like the, Command Shift Escape for your time management. Recent topics have included manage projects like a pro, 7 daily habits I cannot live without, and unlocking the power of caffeine for performance. Every episode provides actionable content with step-by-step instructions. So subscribe to the 5 a.m. Miracle with Jeff Sanders in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. And thanks to Jeff and the team for doing this promo swap with us. All right. As we transition into cool stuff found here, I figured I'd take a minute and talk about this turntable that we're giving away this month. That the Victrola Stream Onyx. It is a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth turntable. As I mentioned in the beginning of the show, it works with Sonos. You don't have to have Sonos to use it, but it certainly just connects to Sonos. You set up the turntable. There's some parts that you just got to kind of connect together. Very easy. The way that you connect the belt drive to the motor after you lay the platter in is kind of brilliant, actually. And they've got like a little hook there that you kind of use and then remove. It's already built in. It's pretty good. And then you power it on. You use their app to connect to it. And once you do that, then you can connect it to your Sonos. You can connect it to Roon. If you're a Roon user, you can connect it to Bluetooth speakers. You can connect it to UPnP speakers, or it's got outputs on the back. You can connect it to wired speakers too, and works very well. It's been a blast. It has brought the vinyl experience back into our home. I've had a turntable in my office for a little while, and The thing that I am not one of those people that says that vinyl sounds better than something else. It sounds different, and if you like that better, then it does sound better to you, right? I've always said that experiencing music is one of those places where confirmation bias is welcomed. Because if you love your $50,000 speakers and you think things sound better on your $50,000 speakers, then by all means, man, use your $50,000 speakers. It's wonderful. I don't need to argue with you that I have a set of, $500 speakers that sound better. Like there's no reason for this, right? But what I do love about vinyl is the interaction with the music, where every 20 something minutes you've got to go over and either flip the record or put a new record on, and all that tactile experience of interacting with music is something that I do really like about the vinyl experience. And so and this Victrola thing is a high class turntable, and they've got new colors now. It's not just available in black. They've got there's a white, there's a green. I don't know if I'm sure I'm not using their colors right, and a blue. I wound up getting the white one, matte blue. Sorry, and what are they calling the green? As I float my matte green and white. That's how I got it right. It's close enough. Yeah. So fun stuff, and we'll put links in the show notes to everything. But enter that giveaway. That's your first place.
I am shocked at what you are giving away, Dave. That one is $7.99.99. Another one, based on the color, is $8.99.99. You're not giving away a plastic toy that you find in your Cheerios box here.
No. This is a quality piece of gear, and it sounds really good. Yeah, and it does a great job, even if records are a little warped. It smooths it all out. It's the real deal for sure. Yeah, and you get to pick your color, by the way. Once you win, the color choice is yours. So,
nice.
Yeah,
well, that's a cool stuff found.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you have something to add on to that, Adam? I think Adam is muted. That's why we can't hear what Adam wants to add.
Speak up. Open the window and shout at him.
I forgot I was muted. I want to add on something that is related. This made me think of this. I'm trying to get you the link here, but
I got the link. You talk about it. I'll find the link.
Okay. So I didn't know we were going to have Victrola sponsoring this giveaway, but I wanted just something to play some of the vinyl albums that I had on, and I wanted something that was portable and just had a built-in speaker. This is probably nowhere near the quality, obviously, of the Onyx turntable, but it is from Victrola. It's called the Revolution Go 3-speed Bluetooth portable rechargeable record player. So this is the one I have. And it's actually rechargeable. It's USB. You can use it as a USB speaker. It has a strap so you can carry it around and take it with you. And I bought this for, it's $65 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's fine. It's not going to blow anything away in terms of the audio quality, but it lets me play my old few vinyl albums that I have from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I can move it around the house. I can take it with me somewhere. It comes in different colors. It's just a fun little
That's outstanding. Player. Yeah, that's very cool, man.
And you can also, connect your iPhone to it and play your Bluetooth music through the speaker. So,
got it. Okay. Can it play through an external Bluetooth speaker, or
I believe so.
Okay.
I believe
all
so.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it does say vinyl stream technology allows you to stream your record to an external Bluetooth speaker. So it's both in or out with Bluetooth. That's because I wonder if you hooked it up to a larger Bluetooth speaker, what would that sound like? You might wind up with a surprise, right? Like, this thing actually, yeah. So
like Pete said, I mean, this one is plastic, but it's got a cover, that goes over it when you're moving around, and it's got a handle built into it. And
that's really cool. Huh? Amazing. Love it. That's great. Cool.
Awesome.
All right. You gonna you want to, we can stick on cool stuff found for a little bit.
I got a real short one here, but we had a discussion in weeks past about what all the little noises coming out of your AirPods and your AirPods cases and all that sort of stuff means. And PJ sent in, go to airpodnoises.net. Has a whole list of them right there. And it'll actually, you can click on it and it will play the noise telling you what each one means. Got a diagnostic test that the battery case is low. Battery is low, rather. That the AirPods are seated in the case properly or improperly. All that kind of stuff. So it looks like there's about 14 of them. Yeah. So.
It's just to get a reference of like, hey, I heard this sound. What does it mean? Yeah, that's kind of good. If I had a way of capturing sound from Safari and routing it easily to the show, I would do that. But I'm not going to take the time to set that up right now. So it's a no-go, folks. But I don't know why I haven't set that up in the past. Like,
it's pretty simple, right?
It is in the grand scheme of things.
Hijack,
yeah. I just have chosen not to in the past, so I don't know why. But anyway, it's not going to happen for the show today. But you can go to the website and play those. AirPodnoises.net. Yeah, very cool. Yeah. All right, we got one more cool stuff found, Adam.
Yeah, I think we can do one more, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Deborah has one, and Deborah says, I only just listened to MGG 1096, so this is a message may come too late for you. Nope, not too late. Rather than splashing out on a BenQ monitor, you could pick up a discounted dual DisplayPort adapter from OWC, or you could even buy one secondhand from me. All right. It worked well to drive two monitors from one Thunderbolt port on a Mac Mini, because this came up recently. We were talking about monitors, and I was lamenting the lack of monitors that didn't have daisy chain support. So it looks like this will solve for that. It worked well to drive two monitors for me from one Thunderbolt port on a Mac Mini, but I've changed everything around and no longer need it. So as long as the computer will natively support two monitors, it should work for you too. And I did look this up. It does look like there are some caveats to this. You need an Intel processor 2018 or later, and you need any generation of an M series Mac, but it needs to be a Pro, Max, or Ultra processor.
And that's because the initial M series processors only supported one external display, not two.
Well, if I'm reading this right, though, like my new M4, right, is not a Pro processor in my. I just got the base M4 processor, so I'm assuming.
I think that supports. No, I think it would. I mean, it's worth reaching out to OWC. They'd certainly be able to tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure if her caveat is the correct one. Your Mac needs to be able to support multiple displays out of Thunderbolt. So I think, but before you buy this, ask OWC.
Yeah, the note on the product page for OWC says base Apple M models, quote, that are not Pro, Max, or Ultra can natively support only one external display via Thunderbolt.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if that's still true today, but
it might. This might be old. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing that note. We must be looking at slightly different pages at OWC. So I'm
looking at the one on MacSales.com where you.
Yeah.
It's down in a little yellow box.
Yeah, I see it now. I will link to that page. Then the one that I found was slightly different. So okay. That was a Thunderbolt 4 2018. Yeah. Yeah, this might be a little old because it's not mentioning anything about Thunderbolt 5, which OWC is also up to date on. So yeah.
Anyway,
right. Ask OWC.
Yep. Yeah, find out first that it's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, great tip.
I love it. All right. Shall we move on to some questions while we still have time here? You want to take us to Alan, Adam?
Sure. Alan says, when I shut down my Mac computers and then start them later, I have been getting a pop-up about duplicate host names on the network. How do I fix this? So it's the typical, this computer has a local host name and then it lists the name of, a mac.local. It's already on the network. And then it says the name of this one has been changed to name of computer one number higher .local.
Yeah, it's that -1, -2, -3, -500 and we've seen people where it just increases,
escalates forever.
Yeah, this is caused by wonderful. No, it's wedged on me again, so I have to do this from memory, but I think I can. This is caused by Bonjour Sleep Proxy. What is Bonjour Sleep Proxy? When your Mac goes to sleep, if it is offering services on the network, like file sharing, screen sharing, printer sharing, any of those things that you might be sharing, your Mac wants to be able to go to sleep, but it also wants to be able to continue to offer services and wake up if someone wants it. So Apple created this thing called Bonjour Sleep Proxy. And what it does is, when your Mac goes to sleep, it looks for another device on the network. And I think certainly other Macs could be this, but I think your Apple TV can also be a Bonjour Sleep Proxy, and maybe a HomePod. I'm not sure about that. But in any event, it finds another device that is on and says, hey, I'm going to sleep. Will you be my proxy and offer these services on my behalf while I'm sleeping? And if someone requests one of these services from you, would you wake me up so that I can handle the request? And of course it says, yes, got you. And that's exactly what it does. And that's how all of that works. And it's wonderful. And usually it works just fine and we don't even think about it. However, what happens sometimes is your Mac goes and wakes up or comes back online after a reboot or whatever and says, oh my gosh, there's another Mac. It sees its sleep proxy and doesn't realize it's its sleep proxy and says, somebody else is using my name. I have to use a different name. And the way it does it is it just increments. It does, if it's, if you're at, MacBook Air -5, it doesn't look to see if MacBook Air -1 is available. It just says, well, I'm -5, so I need now to go to -6. And then this just keeps happening and happening. So, and starts this loop. You can, once it's like up and interactive, you can go into system settings and change the name back and remove the numbers at the end and sort of start this cycle all over again. And that's often what I do, but it will start this cycle all over again. It kind of baffles me that this has been going on for years, maybe a decade plus now, and that Apple hasn't fixed it. It seems, and of course, this is the guy that's 5 days later still has a fever and is not on the coding team at Apple for very good reasons. But it seems to me that it would be very easy to have the affected Mac ask the first Mac, hey, who are you advertising that name for? And if it's me, you can stop because I'm here now. I'll take the name back. Like, I know that negotiation, that handshake happens when the Mac wakes up and comes back on the network. It just hands all its services back to it. So why can't it, when it sees that name, why can't it go and sort of proactively say, I think you're doing this for me, right? And if the other computer says yes, then okay, then all is well. I don't know why that hasn't happened. And I guess I just leave it at that. So anyway, go Adam.
So is this worthwhile for being a tip to maybe just go into system settings and check what sharing might be turned on? And maybe you don't need that sharing. Like I remember I used to do like media sharing for iTunes like way back in the day, and maybe it was just turned on for some reason way in the past and you've forgotten about it and you're not even really using the sharing. So if you're not using the sharing, you could just turn it all off and then it's not going to do the sponge or sleep thing, right?
That's fair. Yes. I know that every one of my Macs, I want to have screen sharing enabled, right? 100%. Yeah. So I think what you just suggested, even for someone like me who knows that I'm always going to have something on and I'm going to need to deal with this problem occasionally, it's still worth going in and looking at what else you're sharing, because it's good to turn that stuff off just out of, if you're not intending to share it, especially music sharing and all that stuff. So yeah.
File sharing. That's the one that I've gotten caught with, where I've had that on for one reason, and then I'm on an airplane, and you're like, "Oh, I'm file sharing all this stuff."
Yes,
whole plane.
Yeah, when I notice it is when I'm in a hotel or an airplane, and I go to like the network icon, and I see everybody else's stuff. That's when I run and make sure that I turned off file sharing, because on my laptop that stuff's all off. Yeah. Except screen sharing. I still leave that on my laptop. Or remote control, maybe. I can't remember which one, but yeah.
Yeah, it's screen sharing.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
All right. Are we going to Tim next here? Is that the plan?
Sure.
We think so. Yeah.
All right, let's go. We're being efficient burning through this. Are you reading Tim's, Adam?
I am reading Tim's, yes. Tim says, I use my iPhone 15 Pro Max to connect to my aftermarket iDoing Android head unit. I don't know what an iDoing Android head unit is.
I'll research.
Using wireless CarPlay. While my phone connects just fine, I'm having an issue with my phone not being able to use the cellular connection to access maps, streaming media, or any other data. The CarPlay screen shows the 5G signal strength, and beside that is the Wi-Fi logo, which should not be showing. It seems that the phone is seeing the head unit's Wi-Fi CarPlay connection as the primary data source. Do you all have any recommendations for maintaining my wireless CarPlay connection and restoring the cellular data access? Thanks, Tim.
This is a deep discussion, as we all know. I was able to come up with two possibilities. One from personal experience, which is I found if I leave the house with PIA VPN turned on my telephone, I will get down the road and find that I have no connectivity for maps or any other data at all. So if you're using VPN in any way, shape, or form, I'd consider turning that off. Then the other thing that comes to mind is Wi-Fi Assist. So if you go to Settings, Cellular, Wi-Fi Assist, and make sure it's turned on, that tells the phone to fall back on cellular when there's a Wi-Fi connection but no actual internet. That being said, that's one of probably, 4 or 5 answers.
Yeah, there was a discussion on in our Discord about this too. Tim posted this in our Discord as well as sending it to email, which is great. And I like the idea about VPN because I've definitely seen that cause problems, and that would explain all of this. So that I think that's a great first place to look. This is interesting though, because CarPlay uses Bluetooth as the initial handshake, and then almost immediately hands it off to Wi-Fi. So it is supposed to connect to the head unit via Wi-Fi. And I looked, this iDoing is a brand that makes aftermarket head units that you replace in your car.
Gotcha.
For CarPlay. Yeah. It looks, I'll put a link in the show notes to it because it looks like a more integrated way than just the, $60 one that you buy on Amazon and clamp to your, or, suction to your windshield and forget about it. Right. This actually replaces your car's head unit with CarPlay. So cool. But it should use Wi-Fi for that. And like in any wireless CarPlay scenario, either the aftermarket ones that we have in many of our cars here or the inbuilt one that I have in my newest car here, it all uses Wi-Fi. But the phone is smart enough to use cellular for the data connection in those scenarios. So there's a couple things I'd try. One is unpairing and repairing the phone, with the CarPlay head unit, just to see if that got somehow confused during the process. The other is some cars, and therefore aftermarket CarPlay units, because how could the iPhone know the difference? But some cars offer their own Wi-Fi connections. Like they have their own cellular radios in them and essentially offer their own hotspots is the right way to say it. So if your phone thinks that your car is offering a hotspot, and perhaps your car is offering a hotspot, but does not have that hotspot like enabled from a data standpoint, then everything you're describing would make perfect sense, because it would say, yeah, I'm connected to the internet, but it doesn't seem like I'm getting anything. So look in the settings for your head unit to see if hotspot is turned on and turn that off. Those are the only things I can think of. Adam, you have anything you can think of on this?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Well, then that's where this ends for us at the moment. But the Discord discussion is continuing, and obviously, we're always available at feedback@macgeekgab.com too. So, all right.
Excellent.
I think we've gotten some comments about Apple's upcoming 2026 OSs, and I think it's probably worth sharing rnDoug's comment about the iPad OS 26 beta. If you've still got that at your fingertips, Adam.
Sure.
I think you've prepped it.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's right here. So Doug says, iPad OS 26 thoughts so far. If you're thinking of installing an early beta of iPad OS, be forewarned that it needs a lot, in all caps, of work. More so than iOS or macOS. Yes, I know I'm on a beta and just happen to be enjoying banging my head against things. But one, he says, there are quite a few apps that have buttons that can't be clicked, or the target is offset from the button. In some cases, a button can't be selected from the keyboard, but works with an on-screen tap. 2, liquid glass effects can obscure buttons, especially when in windowed mode. The stoplight and new menu bar are the most frequent offenders. 3, in windowed mode, it's easy to make windows suddenly fly off the screen. This usually happens to me when I'm typing on the keyboard. I haven't been able to identify what I'm hitting to do that, but it happens regularly. I wonder if that's an expose thing.
That's interesting. Yeah.
4, there are cases where you cannot dismiss a pop-up keyboard or emoji picker without closing the program. This seems to primarily affect third-party programs. Overall, it's still very usable, certainly not recommended for a mission-critical device. I really like the preview app and the ability to put folders on the dock. Being able to customize the folders is also cool as well. Having access to a menu bar and direct access to an app's settings is one of my favorite features. The windowed mode is a step up from the slide over, in my opinion, but I haven't found a lot of use for it so far. Maybe if I had the 13-inch iPad versus the 11. So those are some good thoughts.
Yeah. Thanks, Doug. That's good.
I'll add one really quick thing to this.
Please.
I did end up installing it on my iPad, and I think it's a second generation iPad Pro. I'd have to go look. I've had it like for forever. It's an 11-inch. And I was thinking that there'd be a bunch of features that didn't work. And so far, everything seems to be there. Like I can do the multiple scaled windows, because Apple always seemed to allege like that was a processing issue thing or something, that we couldn't have, overlaid windows with multiple windows because it just took up too much processing power, or that was always the allegation. I don't know if Apple ever really said that directly. But that worked. The menus work. Like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay, good. I haven't installed the beta on anything yet here. Pete, I know that you have. How's that going? You have it on your daily driver iPhone, right?
Yes. And so far, I would say I'd give it a 95 rating.
Wow.
I really like it, except for the home screen. Depending, now I have a varied wallpaper, so the wallpaper changes fairly regularly. Depending on the wallpaper, I can read the names of my apps or the folders.
Oh.
And on some wallpapers, I cannot. There's no automatic contrast behind there. So if I have something white in the wallpaper, it's very difficult to read some of the icons. It just that doesn't look right.
Yeah.
That being said, I do really like it, although it did cause me to use a lot of data because it said, if you want to do the spatial effect on your photos, you need to have your photos on your phone. So I downloaded my entire photo library to my phone. Ouch. But I'm at 80 some gigs this month. Thank goodness I have the unlimited plan from Mint Mobile, which became truly unlimited a few months back. No more of this throttling at 30 gigs or 40 gigs or whatever it used to be.
I think they still reserve the right to throttle.
Yes. Yeah,
but
they did send me a note that said you may notice it's
Yeah.
slower in some places. So far, I have not. So I got about 10
question
more
for-
days.
For you, Pete. I think you can change a setting so that you would only have to download those photos under Wi-Fi instead of over cellular.
Yeah, but that would involve going into settings and changing it so I don't hose myself, Adam.
It is right there in settings,
Yeah.
cellular data.
Yeah.
Right there on the front screen for most of us, because photos, at least for me, is one of the largest consumers of my cellular data for obvious reasons. So, yeah.
Would have required a little forethought on my part there, which... Yeah,
Luckily, you have unlimited and you're okay.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
lucky there. So.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But yeah, I really like it, and I'm tempted to go it on my Mac now next.
Oh, I just can't wait for that. Yeah. This is hopefully we'll get the next, because of our summer schedule here. We've got podcast recording like every 5 days here, and we've got one more of those coming up. So I'm hoping that in the next 5 days that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Don't do it, Pete.
Don't be tempted.
Yeah. I will say though, making the spatial on your photos, the spatial effect is lovely. It's very nice. And
I'm sure it
welcome.
is.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Quick preview, Dave. I bought a short throw projector this week, so we're going to have a cool stuff found review sometime soon.
Okay.
I hope. But yeah, now I have to finish my basement. I did it so I would force myself to start working on my basement.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Motivation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, having that thing, that brand new thing that you haven't even
Now I
paid
need
the
room to
credit
put
card
it in.
bill, and it's you don't want that to start collecting dust unless it's construction dust that's getting you to where you need to be.
Exactly right.
Yep.
That's exactly right. So,
All right. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Again, thanks to Victrola for doing the giveaway with us this month of July. Thanks to CashFly for providing all the bandwidth to get the show from us to you. We each do other podcasts. Adam does the debut film podcast. Pete does So There I Was. I do Business Brain and Geek Gab. If you can't get enough, if once a week isn't enough, we've got you covered. So, and we're sorry for that. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks to all of our premium subscribers. You all rock. Thanks to everybody who listens. If you've made it to this point in the episode, you have our dearest thanks. And Adam, do you have some quality advice from one human to another that we could give to the people?
Very, very good advice. As I got caught with my, iCloud account in limbo, don't do that, folks. Don't get caught.
Made on a Mac. All right, we made it. Love it.
See ya.
Later.